Hey, what's up? What do you guys say? Welcome to the stream, impromptu, just going live because got lots to say and excited to play some games. Hey, don't know what I'm going to play, but I was just like, wanted to go live because I haven't had like, I honestly been pretty busy the last couple days. So E3 was interesting and I want to talk about kind of like now. I know Xbox got something going on tomorrow, but I also want to talk about kind of what we witnessed over the last several days, and we'll give a shout out to people in the chat nice and early. Thank you, Boogie. Oh, Boogie. Thanks, dude. Daniel Hayes, and hey, there's my babe, who just celebrated her birthday yesterday. Love you, babe. So kind of going back into what we witnessed yesterday, or not yesterday, over the past week. Okay, so we had E3 and we had all this excitement, and a lot of people are disappointed in E3, right? And I get that. You know, I get that people are disappointed based on kind of some of the stuff that we saw from a lot of the publishers and stuff, but overall, I'm taking away an awesome E3 experience from this, and here's why. Okay, I think it started out a little strange with Summer Games Fest, but we got some cool announcements out of that. We got Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, right? We got there was a couple of other games in there. If y'all guys in the chat remember, there was like 2 or 3 games in there that looked pretty promising, that were like newer games, and I know that we saw some of them again with Gearbox. They showed 2 of the same games. I remember walking away from Summer Games Fest thinking, okay, well, there's like a list of games here that I want to play, even though I didn't really like the show, right? And there was a lot of mixed stuff in there that just kind of didn't make sense to have at a showcase. Hey, what's up? Well, I'm not. Well, here's the thing. Some people are disappointed in E3 as a whole. Okay, Summer's Game Fest was not really E3 per se, right? Because it was before E3. But there's some chatter out there about people being disappointed with E3. Now I'm looking up the Summer Games Fest announcements. Like, I thought like stuff like the Overwatch character thing was weird. You know, that was like not necessary. You know what I mean? But we also got things like, okay, we got, like I said, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Okay, we got Metal Slug Tactics was awesome. The Death Stranding director's cut. I'm not too keen on that because I think they're going to try and resell the game. Then we had Jurassic World Evolution 2 that was shown again there. They gave like a Solar Ash was shown. Chivalry 2, which people are playing now. Some people seem to really like that game. 2 Point Campus was revealed there. Let's see. What else was there? The Anacrusis. That game seemed like it could be interesting. That's like a PC and Xbox game. But it kind of seemed like maybe it's not going to be that great. We'll see. We'll have to play. But it was still a cool announcement. Then was Blood Hunt, which could be really cool. Tales of Arise looked really good. I just couldn't believe actually how good that looked. Planet of Lana, or Lena, however you want to say it. That's an Xbox indie game that looked really cool, right? So that was Summer Games Fest. You know, that there was some other stuff like Endless Dungeon was shown, Fall Guys. Oh yeah, this one, Tribes of Midgar. Oh, that game looks awesome. Absolutely looks awesome. And Evil Dead, the game, and Elden Ring. So like it started off with this, okay, and we're all thinking, okay, well that wasn't as a huge thing, you know. We got Elden Ring saved it at the end, and we got some other cool game announcements throughout there. So I walked away from Summer Games Fest giving it like I think a 6.5, and that was mainly because Elden Ring was shown. But there was some stuff in there that was like, oh, this is pretty cool stuff, you know, like I'm excited to play. New game announcements. We did get some new game announcements from that. So that kind of kicked off E3. So then the kind of stuff started getting a little strange with some of the conferences. You know, we had what's up, Neo? How's it going, dude? how are you, man? Jean-Marc Louis, Wolf, how's it going? Rick Payne, Jay, what's going on, everybody? So then we go into like E3 proper, okay? E3 proper. So we was on the 12th, we had Ubisoft. So Ubisoft was like interesting because I had a specific hope for Ubisoft at E3 this year, which I know a lot of people did. And that carried through all the way into the Xbox conference. I had a hope. It didn't pan out. It didn't work out, right? But what they showed me was pretty cool. Now, Rainbow Six Extraction looked like it's a game I'm going to have a lot of fun playing with my friends. So that was a cool, exciting thing to see. Like, I was not expecting the way that game actually, the vibe of it. I think it was pretty legit. So that was promising. They showed the one thing about the Ubisoft conference too is they like spaced everything out really well. They had a good flow in the show. Like, it didn't seem like a huge deal, but they spent proper amount of time on the things that they were showing. Rainbow Six Extraction was one, and then they ended it with the surprise of Avatar, which was actually looked pretty cool. Which I'm excited to try that as well. But we know that they're working on a Star Wars game as well, so I would have liked to seen that. That would have been pretty cool. And the one thing I always hold out hope for is Splinter Cell, which we didn't get. But you know, Ubisoft had a decent showing, I think. It didn't blow people's socks off, right? But it got it kind of like, all right, we're in E3 now. You know what I mean? Like, this was a publisher. They had a conference. They had some new stuff to show, a new game announcement. Like, it's going well. Then we had the Gearbox thing. Like, I don't know what that was. You know what I mean? Like, I live in the Dallas area, and Gearbox is in this area, right? So I always like try and like be positive a little bit about Gearbox and stuff because, like, you know, it's a local studio. I want them to do well and all this stuff, you know, like, but man, I do not know what that was. I do not know what Gearbox's thing was. They had just like the weirdest show. It wasn't a show. It was like Randy Pitchford showing off that he's on a movie studio. If you know what I mean. What's up, Chet? So that was interesting, and that kind of got me in this like, oh, is this how some of these people are going to do it? Like, I just didn't understand, like, why invest in the time for that? You know what I mean, guys? Like, what was their purpose with that showing? Because the stuff that the games they showed were just revealed the day before or 2 days before at the Summer Games Fest, right? So you just had 2 days before that your big things to surprise people with. You showed there, and then you just rehash the same stuff and then show Randy Pitchford walking around a movie set. It was like, okay, that was a waste of time. Right. And then I kind of started getting the idea, okay, so we're going to get some of these things here at this E3, which was interesting. Oh, but then was Devolver Digital. Now, they came out and showed us a bunch of cool games with their usual showing, right? Their usual, like, zany, like, over the top, like, making fun of the industry type stuff. And I thought it was pretty cool. I thought Devolver was pretty cool. It made me laugh. Like, they showed good games that I was excited to try and play. The one thing I took away from Devolver is every game they showed looked good. Every game that Devolver showed looked legit. It looked like something I wanted to play. And there wasn't a lot of games because there's a lot of the other stuff. But what they did show looked great. I thought it was like amazing. So they did a great job. I think if I was to give Ubisoft a score, I'd probably say like a 7, and then Devolver probably like an 8. Okay. So I'm at this point like, okay, Ubisoft, forget about the Gearbox thing. Then Devolver, yeah, we're rocking, right? This is E3. But little would I have known what we were in store for the next day. The next day, we got a surprise. Because Xbox came out swinging. They came out in full force with a statement to make. They came out saying, hey guys, hey industry, we're putting you on notice. And we cannot wait for the next generation and all this stuff yet to come. And we got new game announcements. We got amazing graphics. We got stuff that you know about that we're going to update you on that looks incredible. And the variety, we got family-friendly stuff. We got hardcore stuff. We got racing games. We got shooters. We got Game Pass. We got third party. They just came out with 30 games, 27 of them in Game Pass, and blew us away. It was absolutely incredible. And I'm not, you guys know I'm an Xbox fan, right? Like I see Daniel, you're saying Xbox killed it. Yeah, 100%. But wow. I couldn't have actually, I was not ready. You know, I expected like them to maybe have half of the stuff they had and then break it up with some other kind of, you know, here's some business stuff, right? And here's some like other things, and here's some of this, and there's some of that, you know. But no, there's just games, and not just games, but like what people were criticizing Xbox of for a while was graphics, right? They like came out there and just blew us away with graphics, which is new for Xbox. It's not new for Xbox, but it's been a long time for Xbox, right? To come out there and shut people up with the graphics, right? Forza Horizon 5, which is a Game Pass game, just like all other first-party Xbox games. People thought that was a freaking picture. It looked like a picture they put on the screen because they talked about, oh, we went out to Mexico and took 12K photos, blah, 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 right? And for assets, 12K imagery, and then we're doing this. And so we're like, okay, this is cool, you know? And just like I heard some other people say this. And then the car comes in, and it's like, holy shit. Are you kidding me? Right? Are you kidding me? Like, that blew my mind. I've never seen a game, let alone a racing game, look anything like that. That was photorealism, guys. It tricked us into thinking it was a picture. That's the first time I've seen that in a game, like a racing game. Now, we saw it like in Flight Sim, where you know it's all about the slow movement and the graphics and stuff, and we've seen it some other things, you know, but like this is a fast-moving game, right? This is a game in motion. To come out there and then do that, I was like, oh my gosh. Now, here's the catch. I don't know what that was running on. Like, they didn't say it was running on Series X, so I'm going to assume what we saw was running like on some crazy ass PC potentially. I don't know, but regardless, that game is a PC game as well, right? So if that's what they chose to show and that's what way it's gonna look at its highest settings, go for it. Wow us, because I was floored, right? Then they the surprising thing is when they talked about like the next day, I think Windows Central had like, oh, but it's 4K 30 targeted, and I was like, wait, what? And if you guys caught some of my streams, like, wait, what? Like 30 frames? Like, you don't do that, you know? You don't target 30 on anything, please, because it just feels so bad. But then they clarified there's a 4K 60 performance mode, and I'm sure that people are going to use that 4K 30 for all of their in-game photos and stuff, right? If your goal is to go around and drive around to different locations and take beautiful pictures with your cars, you're going to put it at that setting, and those pictures are going to be everywhere. Those pictures are going to be all over the internet, and guess what? That's going to sell the game. I am happy because they did say performance mode is 4K 60, so I'm done. I'm not going to criticize that move anymore because they're giving me what I want, right? They gave me the 60. Yeah, the Forza trailer blew you away. Yeah, me too. That was insane. Wolfen Soul, see, the Xbox showcase was something else. Only thing you lacked from the show was the mic drop. moment at the end or gameplay. I have a theory. I think they had planned something else for the end. And here's why, okay? Because usually at the end of a show, you do announce something new, but it's from like one of your biggest studios, and it's also something that you know that is going to just like make people go bananas, right? And I think whatever they had planned for the end of the show maybe just wasn't ready yet. So they took the Redfall thing, which was an amazing announcement and it was an amazing trailer, and got people really excited and were like, okay, well, this is big enough and good enough to fit at the end. So we're gonna put that there instead. That's what my possible theory is. But I don't know that for sure. But besides that, they ended it with the new. They had new game announcements. We know like Avalanche is working on Contraband, right? We know that Redfall is being developed by Arcane, right? So we not only is Arcane working on Deathloop, but they're working on Redfall, right? So there's just like more to add to the plate, right? We got announcements like Somerville, which looked amazing. We got Replaced, which looks incredible. Just like bam, like one after the other. Even like stuff like Party Animals, you know what I mean? Like Party Animals, don't sleep on that. It's going to be in Game Pass. You know what I mean? It's I know that my daughter and a lot of her friends liked Game Beast a lot. And this looks like an evolution of that, but like it's going to be in Game Pass day one also. So it could catch on, right? Marlesco, you think that Elden Ring was going to be at the end? It possibly could have been. That's why I'm saying like there's something else that I think they were holding for the end that got replaced with Redfall, which is no slouch on Redfall, right? I'm just saying that trailer I think made more sense somewhere in the middle. And then here's going to the beginning and the end of the Xbox show, because we're talking about Xbox right now, guys. Like when we were watching that, we saw Starfield to start the show. Okay. So we get, Halo Infinite's going to end the show then, right? And Starfield was amazing, like with what they showed. Like they gave us what they are willing to right now, which is supposed to be in-engine stuff, and it just looked amazing. People keep talking about that damn sandwich. I wanted that damn sandwich too. But then we go into the middle of the show and we got Halo Infinite. So it was like, okay, well, if Starfield's starting the show and Halo Infinite's ending the show, that made me so excited for the rest of the show, because I knew that something else big was still left, right? You had something else still monumental for the show. And we got a brand new game announcement at the end, which with a badass trailer. So that was exciting, but oh my gosh, guys. Besides Forza, besides Flight Sim, besides Psychonauts 2, besides Starfield, besides Back 4 Blood, besides Far Cry 6, besides Battlefield 6, besides Somerville, besides Replaced, besides Hades, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? Besides all this amazing stuff, Stalker 2, holy shit. Halo Infinite just like made a statement, right? They took that stuff from last year and they came out and they're like, look at this. We're presenting you with our final vision, right? This is like where we're going with this. This is what you're going to get to experience. Okay. And you should have heard our panel during that showcase when they showed Halo Infinite. We were going freaking nuts. For those of you guys that saw it, go check out Pong Soul's reaction. He's a casual Halo fan, right? Like, I mean, he's like a kid. It sounds like a 10-year-old that just like went to the zoo for the first time, and he's like, oh my god, look at the tiger. You know, he's like, just look at that. Like, it was amazing, you know? And the level of detail, I'm going to say something that might be controversial in a second to some people out there, but this is not a fanboy thing. I'm being serious, okay? But to see the level of detail with the story element that they gave us was exactly what I wanted to see. and then they rolled into that multiplayer reveal, and that is what I wanted to see even more, because as a Halo purist, it was like a dream come true for like Halo's potential return to glory. That's what I've always hoped for Halo, to be back up at the top of that mountain. How's it going, Invader? How's it going, Lady? Jeffrey Soto, how's it going? Marlesco, Snakewood, Kid Creed. Yeah, I like that trailer for the multiplayer is just like, bam, you know, like Halo's back, and it's not just back with evolving like people say it has to evolve, right? Like it's evolving in the way it's meant for Halo. And it's hard to explain to people that haven't played a lot of Halo what that means. But for people that played a lot of Halo, that love Halo, what we witnessed was glorious with that multiplayer trailer. And then going in to even take it further with the multiplayer overview the next day, it just cemented to all of us that this is going to be big. It's going to be huge, and it's going to be Halo. And that made me so happy. Like, people keep saying, well, it needs this because Call of Duty has it. It needs this because Battlefield has it. It needs this. No, it doesn't need any of that shit. It needs to be Halo. But it needs to be the next level of Halo. Right? And that's what we got. And it was like, wow. You know? Oh, gosh. It's just like gives me chills even thinking about like how much fun we're going to have playing Halo. So that was like my favorite thing. All right, just hands down, 100%. My favorite thing of E3 was seeing Halo, and not just for me, but to see other people stop trashing on it, to see other people genuinely now excited for the franchise that I love, makes me happy. It makes me so fucking happy to see other people start talking about Halo like that again. And that's what they needed to do. So props to them for that. Now, here's where the controversial thing I'm going to say is, okay? Now, this is I want to 1v1 you. I'll 1v1 you, Invader. Heck yeah, I'm in. So, we're talking about graphics a little while ago, okay? Now, people always say that, you know, they don't show up with the graphics. They don't show up with the graphics, okay? But here, my controversial statement is, at this Xbox E3, I saw better graphics than I've ever seen shown by any video game, period, in the history of gaming. Period. Between Flight Simulator, between Forza Horizon 5, between Stalker 2, and yes, Halo Infinite. Stop the screen in the middle of the multiplayer trailer and just stop the screen, pause it, and look at the detail on the Spartans running around. And tell me that isn't insane. Tell me that isn't amazing for a freaking multiplayer free-to-play experience to have that level of graphics. And then a Flight Sim, Forza Horizon 5, Stalker 2. This stuff that was shown at the Xbox E3 showcase was the best graphics I have ever seen, period. Better than anything I've seen in recent weeks that everybody was freaking out about. It's just absolutely amazing. And that has me so excited because this doesn't even take into account what's supposed to be the graphical showpieces. It's not even taken into account Hellblade 2, right? Project Mara. Like, what these other games that we're expecting to be blown away by. I was shocked. They went all in on that, right? They just went all in on the graphics, and they wanted to blow people away. Now, I'm curious what everything was running on, you know, because it didn't say, except for the rare occasion, it didn't say captured on Series X, right? So, but that being said, most of their games are on PC. So it's not really like lying if they're showing things running at the highest possible settings on a PC, because that's what they're going for. It's the ecosystem, right? So, you know, we'll see. How's it going, Crimson Knight? Um, just absolutely mind blowing what we got to see. Hey, Midway, how's it going? How are you? So going on from Halo, you know, um we got some more like Game Pass announcements. Like I said, like Halo. You know, we Psychonauts 2's. We found a date for that. It's coming soon. We got the Pirates of the Caribbean stuff and Sea of Thieves. Just so much for everybody. And then I was like, okay, Xbox show's over. Man, that was crazy. Like, I can't believe everything that they showed up with. And then we got into the next day. Okay, so the next day, Xbox in a roundabout way probably won that day too with the multiplayer overview. But going into that, I was super hyped, and we had what the no, wait, sorry, this is the same day. Sorry, I'm still on the same day because we streamed for 7 hours on Sunday. At the 8.5 actually. We streamed for 8.5 hours on Sunday. So we had the PC gaming show. Waste of time. Let's get it done without it. Future Game Show was pretty good. There was a lot of cool games shown for that. It did kind of run kind of long and kind of get mundane, right? But there was a lot of cool stuff shown in that. And then what we had, Capcom, waste of time. Namco, waste of time. Really nothing shown. We had Square. Okay, this is the other one I wanted to take a minute and talk about because yeah, Marlesco, I love the E3 show. The Xbox E3 show specifically. But okay, so Square, I had some high hopes for, right? Because they have some stuff in development that I know is pretty cool. They got the Project Triangle thing that I wanted to see. You know, they got Final Fantasy 16 is in development. You know, there's some stuff there that's like, okay, I really want to see some stuff, right? And they showed mostly mobile games based around Final Fantasy. And they showed Guardians of the Galaxy, which was a cool surprise. Cool surprise. I don't know exactly how I feel about that game yet. I don't know if I'm excited about it. It's something I'm curious about because I'm a big Marvel guy, you know? Like, I really like the characters. I like that it's single player focused and all these kind of things, but I'm still a little weary of it. But we're getting it this year, so that was a cool surprise, right? So they started out, in my opinion, strong, even though they didn't need to spend 20 minutes on one game. So once we got past that, they showed a bunch of that mobile stuff, blah, 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 blah. Okay, then there was 2 games shown. And then this is where I want to talk about this for a second. Oh, thanks, Midway, bro. My wife just got this for me, dude. All right, so the 2 games. First one was Babylon's Fall. Okay, so Platinum Games, man, the game looks like it could have good action, but this was like kind of one of their big things for this show, and wow, does it look dated. I'm not trying to be negative, but if you're like, I'm coming off this Xbox show where I've seen the best graphics I've ever seen before in my life on stage, right? And then we're going into this show, and it's like they took 2 generations a step back with that game. It was strange. It was weird. It made me worry about Platinum. Now, I don't deny that the gameplay is probably going to be good, but like, hey, you know, they're supposed to be like this upper tier dev. You know, I always had kind of thought of them as that after like Metal Gear Rising Revengeance and after like Bayonetta 2 is like, okay, well, you know, they got, you know, they're on the right path. You know, they got all this stuff coming. Then they showed Babylon's Fall. It's like, oh my gosh, like, what are these guys doing? And then they announced another game where they announced another game that was leaked previously, the Team Ninja. Now, this one didn't look as dated as Babylon's Fall, but it looked like the same game. Um, it's like a roguelike Final Fantasy game, right? It looked pretty cool, but I started wondering like, why does every like franchise need to have a roguelike now? You know, why does every not roguelike, Souls like, I'm sorry, Souls like game. Why does every franchise start going to make their Souls game? You know what I mean? It just didn't feel like needed for Final Fantasy to make this game. It could be cool, right? We're getting this on Xbox, we're getting on PlayStation, getting on everything, which before it was rumored that it was only going to be on PlayStation as an exclusive, which was weird because that's what the leak was, but supposedly it's on everything, right? Which was revealed at Square, but coming after Babylon's Fall, we got that, and it looked like the same game. One of them looked worse than the other, and that was Babylon's Fall. But then we got this one too, and it's like, okay, like, this is what you had to show us. Okay, that's cool, and that was their big thing. That was their big thing, and I could have taken that whole conference and or left it. You know, like I just, at least we got a couple of new games out of it. You know what I mean? To be somewhat excited about. It's just like surprising the showing of those that they had. I wonder how long in development they've had, and if they are not like anywhere close, then they showed off too much. So we'll see. I don't know. Like I have high hopes. I'm gonna try the games regardless. I usually like to try things, but yeah, Square was interesting. And then I'm not even gonna mention Take Two or Koch Media or however you say it. Those were kind of like what, right? But you know, ultimately the Guardians of the Galaxy thing I guess was pretty cool. Final Fantasy Origin I guess is pretty cool. But I got some screenshots, guys. Like, I don't want to trigger anybody, but you know what I mean. Like, um, it's just interesting. I wonder if I can bring this up real quick. But I'm gonna try and bring up these screenshots that I took. Bear with me. I gotta bring them up on the screen. By the way, how's everybody doing? Crimson Knight, you doing okay? Snakewood, you doing okay? By the way, shout out to all you guys, channel members. You rock. I didn't notice that Crimson Knight became a channel member. Did that just happen? But I appreciate that, 100%. Let's see here. Where is this screenshot? You guys need to see this. I'm not kidding. You're a Hellboy. Okay, that makes sense. All right, here we go. I'm gonna pull this screenshot up, guys. This is a real screenshot, okay, that I took. Now this is from the YouTube video. Of Babylon's Fall. Okay, so I'm going to give me a second. Check this out. Wrong one. Hold on. Yeah, that's a real screenshot from Babylon's Fall. Yeah, Lady AF in the chat said y'all are awesome. She's 100% right. You guys are awesome. Lady that really wants Scalebound to show up, guys, at some point. I do too. I think Scalebound had a lot of potential, but I think this game could potentially give us some insight into why we're not seeing Scalebound. Just a thought. So this is a screenshot from that game, from the trailer. Okay, here's another one. Like, okay, so I'm. Is it an art style thing? Is that what's going on? I mean, I'm not trying to. You know, I don't usually do this, but I'm going there with this game. Okay, what's up, Chris Jones? Like, is it an art style that is throwing me off, or does this look like a PS3 game? Like 3-Bit said that when we were live. He's like, what was up with that? I don't know. Like, and this is like, I know this game is a PlayStation exclusive, right? I'm not trying to trash on it because of that. Okay, I would be feeling the same way if this was an Xbox exclusive. I just don't understand. So what 3-Bit said when I told 3-Bit is like, is this an art style thing? Is that why it looks like so bad? And he was like, if it's and this was his words, and he's an artist and an animator, right? He said if it's an art style, it's a bad one. And I concur, because the art style isn't drastic enough to make you realize it's an art style. It just makes the game look like crap. So, I think they could potentially want to revisit that aesthetic. That's just my critique. They can do with that what they wish, but I was not impressed with that. So, now here's the other game that I was talking about, Final Fantasy Origins. This was from the right after on the Square reveal. So this one you can see is like, it looks better, right? It looks better than that. But in motion, it did look like the same game. It was strange. Like the two games that were announced and revealed, like pretty much like identical in some ways, and like the style. So yeah, this was that one. So you know, you can see it looks better, right? But still, coming away from that Xbox showcase, you're like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? You know, you have, this is like in motion. And maybe I shouldn't have frozen on this scene because like it's pretty blurry, but you guys see what I'm seeing, right? I mean, so Square, just basically what I'm getting at is like, come on, Square, you know, like, what was up with that? Oh, yeah. Square Enix showing, I would give them a 5. I would give them a 5 because they at least showed new games. But I would give them also a 5 because those new games looked pretty bad. No offense. So that's just Square, and then we had, like I said, Take-Two can't even talk about it. Namco showed the next horror game in succession. Looks pretty cool, but that's all they showed is like 7 minutes of the same game supposedly. But then, so the day after, like Monday was like pointless. And then we had Nintendo. Okay. Okay. So I don't want to get in trouble with the statements. Nintendo. What I'll say was they showed some new games that I could be excited about. In fact, some of them I do want to play. But the problem is I don't want to play them on the existing Nintendo hardware. I really wanted a new device announcement. Well, you can say a Switch 2.0, you can say a Switch Pro, you can say a Nintendo console, any of the above that makes it a legitimate good experience on a big screen TV. That's what I wanted from Nintendo. And we got some cool games, right? What's up, Shizno? Lost Forever, how's it going? Back from Dead, how's it going, dude? We got some cool games, right? But I'm not excited as much as I should be because I know I'm gonna have a great experience playing on the device that they're gonna be on. And that's just my personal taste, right? Some people absolutely love their Switch because they like playing in handheld, right? For me, I don't like playing handheld. I like playing on a screen. And I can't play the games that I want to play and get a good experience on a big screen. I know you are, lady. Yeah. So that's where I'm going with this. Like I'm excited they announced a new Metroid, right? They had some cool stuff, right? And the new Metroid Dread, yes. Give it to me. I like 2D classic Metroid. I like that Metroidvania. You know, it's called Metroidvania for a reason. It's Metroid, right? It's not even Metroidvania, it's just Metroid, right? I like that style of game. I love it. Shadow Complex is one of my favorite 360 games. I'm super excited for Metroid, but I want to play it on a big screen and not be looking like crap. So, you like playing Switch on TV as well, Chris Jones? Yeah, so now some games work fine. You get 1080 60 off of like Mario Kart, you know, off of Mario Odyssey, you know, you got, you know, Splatoon, you got some other games. So they look great. You know, you go with those cartoony style graphics and stuff, you know, like super polished by Nintendo. Those games look and run good on a screen, on a small screen, anything. Okay. But for games like was it Shin Megami Tensei? I am not excited to play that on that device. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was I was so excited to play that because the first one I missed out on. I couldn't find it anywhere. They kept it rare on purpose, right? And it was hard to get back when it came out on the Wii. So I ended up passing it, and they announced the second one, and I was excited to play it, but it was a horrible experience on that machine. And that's just the way it was, right? So that kind of got me disappointed going forward with Nintendo, and then the same thing happened several times. You tried playing Fortnite on that thing? I'm sorry, it's not the same. So anyway, I was really hoping for that new Switch or console announcement or something to make me more excited to play their games. We didn't get that. That's okay, right? But overall, I still like the stuff that Nintendo showed, so I give them a solid 7. If there's anything above a 10, I could give Xbox. I would, but I mean, I gotta have, you know, they set the bar, right? They set the bar. It's a 10 for Xbox. Everything else below that, 100%. They just freaking smashed it. And they made everybody else look bad. Could you imagine E3 without Xbox showing up the way they did? Could you imagine what we would have gotten? And it sucks that PlayStation wasn't there. I really would have liked to see PlayStation, because what PlayStation's going to do is they're going to like weigh and measure this now and have their thing later on, and then come out with what they got, and we'll see what they show up with. But like, it would have been nice to have it all in the same week, you know? Like, I really miss the bing bang boom of it all, right? Like, Xbox E3, PlayStation E3, Nintendo E3, all together. Then you had EA, Ubisoft. You know what I mean? I would have loved to see PlayStation there because I know PlayStation is going to come out and show some amazing stuff. They're going to show some amazing stuff. And could you imagine what it would be like if we had that following or even before the Xbox conference back to back? Oh my gosh, like the gaming world would be like just crazy right now. It would just be amazing. So I really, really hope for that in the future that they return. Hey, Chet Sandberg, $5 super chat. Thank you. Appreciate that. He says, what did I think of Eiyuden Chronicles? That and Forza Horizon 5 blew me away. Now, let me say this about Eiyuden Chronicles. Chris Jones has been telling me about this game. Shout out to Chris Jones in the chat. I see you, man. He has been telling me about Eiyuden Chronicles. And I've been like, oh, cool. And that was his most anticipated game. I was like, cool, man. Eiyuden Chronicles. Yeah, like, I'll keep an eye out for it. They showed it at the freaking was that at the Xbox show? Yeah, they showed it at the Xbox show. And wow. Oh, was it Summer Games Fest? I don't remember. Where did they show Eiyuden Chronicles? Wherever it was, I was like, okay, I'm down for that. Like, that looked cool. I think it was at the Xbox show, and they said Game Pass. Did they say Game Pass Day 1 on that? I don't even remember. Somebody let me know, because I can't remember. But, yo, that game looks sick, because it had, like, the Octopath Traveler kind of feel, but it had, like, the 2D, like, animation on the characters. It was beautiful. And what I loved the most was the combat sequences, where they actually showed the turn-based combat, and they had, like, the archer off in the distance shooting the bow. And then they had like the traditional like turn-based style up close. Yeah, so Eiyuden was at the Xbox show, right? Oh my gosh, it was like, wow. I am super into that. So I'm going to be playing the heck out of that game. Sometimes these games look a certain way and you get an idea of what they are in your head, and then you go and play them, and then there's like too much of something else that kind of gets in the way that you don't like. So I don't know, like, at the end of the day, how much I'm going to love it, but I'm definitely going to try it because I'm super excited about what I saw, and that's what the goal was. So I'm pumped about it because I like traditional old school JRPGs. I think there needs to be more of them. I think they need to be put more with high production values and stuff, and like come out with games. And I think the better games like this do, the more chances we're going to get us some more stuff with this. I love turn-based tactical combat games. Yeah, Chris Jones is a Kickstarter backer for it, so you get a decent amount of info for it. Nice, dude. Awesome. Let's see here. Yeah, Snakewood says you're surprised that EA didn't put their new sports games in Game Pass. Well, who knows, that it could be coming still. Yeah, we'll talk a lot about Eiyuden Chronicles. You'll get your chance on July 2nd too to tell everybody about it. That's one that's like it caught my eye. What I didn't expect was like it's still a ways off, right? So I was hoping for a little bit sooner, but that's okay. We get how about this? We got a Starfield release date over a year and a half before the game comes out. Like, Bethesda doesn't do that. Like, Bethesda just doesn't do that. And I think they did it because they're trying to cement to people that Xbox has stuff coming. They're trying to cement to people that this stuff is coming, it's happening, we have a plan, right? So that was surprising to me. Like, we put that question on those videos, if y'all check out those interviews that we did. The question was, will Starfield get a release date? And it was like, I swear it was like 75% of people said no, that we'll get a window. And I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, right? We're not going to get a date. They wouldn't announce a date a year and a half ahead of time. They're just putting like a mark on it that they have to meet at that point, you know? So, but guess what? They came out and they got a release date on that game a year and a half away. That is crazy to me. It's amazing, actually, that we already have that set in stone and can be anticipating that. And I don't think they would have put that date on there unless they were 100% confident that they're going to meet it. So they know that they didn't need it for this holiday, and they're at a certain stage with that game, and they're going to add this year of polish, bug fixing, and all that stuff, kind of like they did with Halo Infinite, and come out with it next year and have that as their heavy hitter. And they're going to have a hitter. They're going to have a heavy hitter like this year after year after year, right? And I'm freaking excited for that because they even said like they're going to have stuff in Game Pass like every month. And they said exclusive. Again, Sarah Bond said the words exclusive. They said it on the screen. They try to make it bold and clear for everybody to see. Exclusive. And then what happened the next day? Metro UK put out an article, still may come to PS5. Like, does anybody understand that? Like how, like, is it that hard to grasp? It is for some people, I guess. Boogie says, I think the main reason Bethesda did that has more to do with it being an unknown variable due to it being a brand new IP. And now they can talk about it more in the lead up to the 16 months. Yeah, dude, that makes sense. What's up, Timmy? Crimson Knight. Man, it's going to be so Crimson Knight instead of the Hellboy now. Sorry, Crimson Knight. I like the name, by the way. When you go back and look at the Xbox One generation, it isn't as bad as people think. I understand we had higher expectations, but I'm sure we knew they would improve. For rebuilding gen, they grow. Yeah, it was unclear at times. There was like in 2017, it was kind of like, how serious are they? They've been canceling a lot of stuff that they've been promising. You can go into a couple of things. You can go into like Phantom Dust. You can go into Crackdown. Eventually came out, but that like took forever. Then you had Scalebound. You had the Halo 5 was supposed to be part of this new trilogy, right? It was, but that's what they had said. But didn't happen, you know? So it was kind of interesting where things were at a certain time. And it did kind of feel like with the studio closures and them relying on third parties but canceling projects and all these things, it was kind of like, where are they right now? And I was like super into Xbox because I love the ecosystem. It's the place I love to play the games, but there was just like no big new game announcements that were coming soon. We got a few, you know, we got Gears 4, we got Gears 5, you know. We had the Forzas, right? And I was still on board, but to see them make this turnaround as quickly as they have over the last 3 years is absolutely incredible. To see where Xbox is now. That show that we got would not have been possible without making all of those moves that they've been making. Because you look at the stuff that we got from Bethesda, you look at the stuff that we got from, okay, so you add up like, okay, Double Fine, the Psychonauts 2 was there. You know what I mean? They have a working relationship with the Sobo. There's rumors about them possibly going after them. You add up all these moves that they've been making, and it adds up to like this big, huge thing, and they're not done, right? Where we were down to couple studios a few years ago, like 6, 7, something like that. I was 23 and plus some. I think potentially 26 without us knowing all the details. I guess people are saying that wasn't the place for them to make that kind of news because they're making it about them, Bethesda. So who knows exactly how many it's going to end up with. Pong Soul seems to think it's going to be 30. We're going to end up with 30 studios, part of the Xbox team. Who knows? But I know that they need to keep feeding stuff into Game Pass to make Game Pass what they want it to be. Snakewood says it's killing you not seeing an Elder Scrolls reveal of gameplay. Well, Elder Scrolls 6 is years away. They're not going to start that really fully into development until after Starfield launches. Elder Scrolls 6 is maybe a smaller team on it right now, if anything. And then once Starfield launches, then that main team is going to go over to Elder Scrolls 6. Todd Howard has alluded to this in the past. So he says to be extremely patient for Elder Scrolls 6. So I wouldn't think we're going to get Elder Scrolls 6 till later this generation, which is disappointing because I love Elder Scrolls, but they wanted the technology to be at a certain point to make their vision a reality, and where they're going with Starfield is the beginning of that, right? So Jasper, that's not 11/11/33, but hey, that would be cool. So we're going Starfield and then Elder Scrolls 6. And before that, Fallout 4, right? Fallout 4 was the last game by the main team, right? So it was Fallout 4, Starfield, Elder Scrolls 6. The other stuff is different projects, right? Elder Scrolls Online, Fallout 76, all of these games by all of the other studios within Bethesda's ZeniMax, you know, they're all not the primaries, right? But the primary is Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Starfield, mainline single player games. That's what they make. Yeah, Paul, AFC, good point. He says the way E3 delivered was exactly what it should always be, laying a roadmap as to what's in the pipeline up to 12 to 18 months. Yeah, I agree. But they also did probably show a couple things that are like also further out. We don't know exactly when, but no, baby, they're fine. The dogs are fine. I can't hear them right now, so... How's it going, Toolman? Shizno says, was really hoping to see more Starfield gameplay, but the creation engine is looking great. Bet it will look amazing. Yeah, I think Todd Howard's MO is not to reveal the goods until really close to launch. And it probably took a lot to get him to reveal the trailer that they revealed, because he wants as little lead time as possible with big reveal launch. That's just what he likes. He's said that numerous times. So we probably won't get like actual in-depth gameplay till next E3, or potentially even later if that's what he wants. Yeah, Shizno said it is awesome that Microsoft are more dedicated to gaming now as much as I enjoy Xbox. For so long, it always felt like they weren't all in. Yeah, Satya Nadella said they're all in, right? Microsoft is all in on gaming. They're committed, and you can tell. And it's they see this as a viable, good opportunity for their whole company, right? And they're seeing Xbox as a bigger, more important part of it, and they're going to invest in it to keep growing it, because it's their like fun project. Right? It's, you know what I mean? Like Microsoft is like, okay, this big whole overarching thing. You know, you got Windows, you know, you got hardware with like Surface, and you got all this business stuff, and you know, all this cloud stuff and everything. You got all this like tech, but then you know, games have always been a big part of everything that they've done, because games have been on all their devices, right? Games have been always on their platform forever. And so they've always had a little bit of like that game DNA in them. And now they're blowing that up, right? They're all in on it. Jasper says Bethesda leaks more than a broken pipe. We will get more Starfield info over the next year. Yeah, well, you know, they've already were a lot of leaks, you know, especially if you guys follow SkyLoWnZ on Twitter, on his YouTube. He has a lot of stuff. But, you know, he was thinking 2021, which was not correct. So, Country Gentleman says Microsoft missed the mobile boom. They're not missing gaming. Yeah. Yeah, they were a little late to that party, weren't they? Jeffrey Soto says I can't wait to see what's next from In Exile. Yeah, me neither. 100%. In Exile could potentially be working on a Fallout game. That's just a theory. This is not, but it would make sense if you're to have Fallout from different teams. There's three teams within Xbox that should really work on a mainline Fallout game. Okay, that could really work on one, and that's Obsidian, In Exile, or also Bethesda, right? We know Bethesda's mainline games, they're going to be busy for a while. They got Starfield to launch, then they got Elder Scrolls 6, okay? So if we do get another Fallout, which would make sense because it's such a huge IP, I think it would fall onto Obsidian because they've proven themselves before with it with Fallout New Vegas. Or it could also be In Exile, who their roots go back to Interplay as well as Obsidian back in the day, where they actually were the original creators of Fallout on PC, which was a different style game. But you're talking about bringing people back to their roots, right? So I think In Exile is uniquely qualified, Obsidian's uniquely qualified, and so is Bethesda, obviously. Right, so I could see In Exile doing that. I could see them making something completely different. I could see them making new IPs. Who knows? But they got like Wasteland. You know, their next thing is first person though. They've said that, right? They're not only hiring tons, but they're moving into new studios and stuff too. So their Xbox is heavily investing in these studios. Digital Tiger says Xbox needs to acquire Rocksteady. That would be cool. Now, Rocksteady can pretty much, in my opinion, work with any IP, right? So it doesn't matter like if they have access to the Batman license or Suicide Squad, DC stuff. I think if they get Rocksteady, you can get a license for anything, and they could pretty much do it. Pretty incredible studio. Matt Byrnes says you focus on the stuff that's closer. That'll be playing very soon. Next 6 months is awesome. Yeah. Paul AFC, what's up with Crossfire X? Looked amazing last year. I have no idea. Crossfire X is a mystery. Crossfire X is Remedy. They're the ones making the campaign. They are notorious for being slow, and it is interesting because that game was supposed to come out last year. They had said last year. And then it comes up to E3 and we don't even have an announcement for this year. Or even a trailer or anything, or even a mention of it. It's very interesting. I'm wondering if Remedy is not as far along, if they don't like the way direction the game is going. Because I played the multiplayer beta last year, guys, on the Xbox when it launched, but the Remedy's not in charge of the multiplayer, right? But I played the multiplayer beta. And let me tell you, that was not cool. It felt like a mobile game on Xbox. So, what's up, Crispy Bomb? What's up, Anime Heaven? Big Bang says, "Hey, do you think due to Game Pass, Xbox is more encouraging on make online only service like games instead of more single player experiences?" Not necessarily. Here's what I think about Game Pass. I think those kind of games are a really good fit for it because you can automatically get. I think Game Pass is a good fit for those type of games because all of a sudden these developers know that there's going to be a bigger chance for them to succeed with a bigger player base that's going to be able to access it from day one, which is going to potentially help the game grow. But I don't think that means that's like all Game Pass is going to get. Or even majority of games. I think that it's just a large section of games are going to be like that on there. That's just because it's a good home for it. But ultimately, Game Pass is going to be about variety. Because Game Pass, they need to draw in different audiences, right? Okay, so I have this service I want people to subscribe to. So let's just put gaming out of the mind and let's talk about. Let's say it was movies. Okay, I'm starting a movie subscription service. If you just target one genre of movie, you're only targeting one audience. Okay, if I just only do horror movies, I'm only going to get the horror movie audience. If I'm only targeting comedies, I'm only going to get a comedy audience. So there may be somebody that's really into horror movies, but if I don't put any horror movies on there, I'm not going to get that person, right? So the same, you could look at the same thing with this, right? Even though a lot of stuff is multiplayer and has a lot of these co-op experiences and these things, because it is a good home for them, it makes sense for them to go there. They need to reach out and make stuff available for everybody, every type of gamer. Talking about family-friendly games, you're talking about single-player, story-driven games like Hellblade, right? And you need to have quite a bit of all of it, because if you leave any one out, you're not targeting that audience. So there's who knows exactly what the possibility is of what we're going to get, but no, I don't think it's primarily going to be those type of games. I think it's going to be lots of different kinds of games. But, you know, Xbox has always had a social background, so there's just more of that right now. We'll see with some of these other announcements. But it was interesting, to your point, Contraband and Redfall were both like co-op shooters or co-op experiences. Contraband's more vehicle-based, though, I guess. Paul AFC, I thought the Top Gun expansion on Flight Sim was genius too, because who else got feels when that music started playing and you're rolling through the jet, rolling with the jet through the skies there. I was just like, okay, this is going to take that game up to another level of fun. Yeah, 100% crispy. Look at Netflix, yeah, and not just Netflix, but like Disney Plus. So, like, you can even go into like the Marvel stuff on Disney Plus now with these different shows from like, they're different genres. The different shows are actually different genres, right? Even if they're in the same universe, even if they're in Marvel, because Marvel's trying to reach out to different audiences and bring different people in that could be like different types of shows. And if they can get people invested into the story, then they can get people invested more into the overarching story. And also amazing shows. Loki, I just finished episode 2. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, a Digital Tiger, you said you agree with or without Batman. You just want Rocksteady just because the studio's super talented. 100%. Like, absolutely super talented. Like, Arkham Asylum was actually kind of like a sandboxy Metroidvania style game, and then you have Arkham Knight and Arkham City, which are more open. But like Rocksteady could do anything. They're amazing. Yeah, they need diversity. Big Bang, 100%. They need that diversity to bring in different audiences. That's why, like, you could see surprises of different types of creators or publishers or devs making games for Game Pass, because Xbox is going after and they're going to try and target different audiences to bring into the ecosystem, because you want to get subs. If you're not making something for a large subset of players, they're not going to subscribe to your service, right? They're just going to think the service is trash because it doesn't have anything for them. If you make stuff for them, they're going to be attracted to the service. Watch that movie Power with Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Really good movie. Yeah, I'll check that out. Speaking of movies, what was that? Without Remorse on Amazon Prime. Michael B. Jordan, amazing. If you like Tom Clancy stuff, if you like possibility of this going further and them making movies about some other Clancy things, watch that movie. It's great. Without Remorse. Patik Sahu says, excited about Avatar. I am as well. I think it looked pretty cool. I do not know exactly what it is, but it's got potential. Yeah, I just can't stop thinking about all of that stuff that we saw. Like, okay, going back to Forza Horizon 5 a little bit. Like, this is supposed to be the sandbox game, right? It has no right looking that good. Forza Horizon 5. Like, you would think, okay, Forza Motorsport is going to look good. But this game is the sandbox open world racer. It has no right looking that good. And guess what, guys? This is the studio, this is the team that is making Fable. Freaking making Fable. What's up, Bob? Like, they just showed up to E3, Playground did, and just like went, "Hey guys, look at what we can do." You know what I mean? Like, hey, check this out. Yeah, you aren't capable of this. We are. That's what they did. I mean, it was insane. Uh, Talent at that studio is amazing. I can't wait to see what they come out with Fable. I think it's gonna be incredible. Um, yeah, I was hoping for the hey Paul. I was hoping for the 3 green lights too. So let's take a minute of like let's just dive into that, okay? Splinter Cell. I don't know whose ear we need to get into to make this happen. But it seems like every E3 we're all trying to will it into existence. We're all trying to make this dream a reality. We're all trying to make this dream come true. And I feel like they don't know what to do with their franchise and their character besides stick Sam everywhere he doesn't belong. At some point, you would think they would realize that people really want this and they would just do it. Like, what needs to happen to make this a reality? Splinter Cell is the most popular character. I mean, Sam Fisher, I take it back. Sam Fisher is the most popular character in the Clancy verse. Okay. Out of all the war type games, you know, like realistic type war games and shooters out there, he's probably the most famous character. Like, now I'm not going into like sci-fi because I think that would be Master Chief, right, or space or whatever, you know. But if you want to talk about like just characters in video games, Sam Fisher is a name that people know, right? I mean, people just know this name. What do we have to do to make them realize that what they have is valuable and people are going to buy it, and you don't have to worry about how to make it into a sandbox or how to turn it into your formula of whatever kind of Ubisoft formula you're working with now? Because that's what they do at Ubisoft, right? We had it with Far Cry. After Far Cry 3, every Far Cry is all about the villain. Cool. You know what I mean? It worked once, so they're doing it again and again and again. That's just what Ubisoft does. Now, that's not to say that they do it well, so it hasn't necessarily been a problem, right? But it's a problem when you don't get new games of franchises that people love. It's a problem when it impacts every decision that they make about what to come out with and way their games need to be developed. Because at that point you lose what gaming's all about, the variety, the sense of creativity, the artistry of what the people that are making the games actually want to make, and then you're forcing everything into a shoebox. Now, their shoeboxes are good. They're good quality shoeboxes, so we like them, right? We buy them because they're good quality, but like, you know, you got to like step outside the bun. Like, come on, Ubisoft, like not every game has to have outposts that you climb and reveal more of the map, right? It worked in Assassin's Creed, so you implemented it into Far Cry. I get it. Um, you turned Ghost Recon into an open world shooter. Figured that one out. Um, you're trying to figure out ways turn every franchise into something else. For my money, I want a Splinter Cell that's a true narrative, stealth, action, badass game like we got Chaos Theory, like we got with the first Splinter Cell, like we got with Pandora Tomorrow, like we got even with Double Agent, which a lot of people didn't like. I loved Double Agent. I thought it was great. With Blacklist, with Conviction. Now, if you guys didn't, the problem is Ubisoft looks too much at certain things too. Like, okay, so let's say Blacklist did the sell well. Okay. They released Blacklist at the worst possible time. Next gen consoles were just about to come out, or maybe just came out. I can't remember. One or the other. Like, it was right around that time. People were all excited, but they kept seeing all these new games for next gen. They come out with Blacklist when people are kind of lost excitement over that last generation, which was a really long one. That 360 PS3 gen was fairly long, right? So, and they released it right at the end. And then we go a whole generation without another one. Conviction, they waited forever to come out with Conviction. I remember before Conviction came out, they were trying to figure out a way to turn Splinter Cell into more of an open game. I remember seeing the next Splinter Cell in magazines, and they're talking about like crowd control and stuff, and it's like, this sounds like Assassin's Creed, you know? And they ended up scratching that idea, and eventually somebody came in and then turned it into the Panther. We're going to be attack the enemy. We're going to be a predator, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, cool. That's what they went with. And Conviction was great. It still plays great to this day. And then Blacklist was okay, you know, like it was good, but you know, it didn't have Ironside, right? So it kind of fell a little flat. They really need to get back to being, just make a Splinter Cell game, have co-op like Chaos Theory was amazing, have Spies versus Mercs, and have a story-driven campaign. Make it a graphical showpiece, make it amazing, give it to us. We will buy it. I know so many people will buy that game. And they're missing the boat. They don't even have Metal Gear to compete with right now. Like, they don't even have Metal Gear to compete with right now. There's like, they would be the only big like stealth action shooter type spy game out there really right now. You got Agent 47. It's a different style of game, right? You got Hitman. It's a different style of game. It's just like Splinter Cell. Just give it to us, please. We've been begging. Xbox, I plead to you. It used to be an Xbox exclusive. Go to Ubisoft and find a way to make this happen. You know, just go to them and say, we'll like fund the game. Just figure it out. Figure it out. Somebody, PlayStation. I even if it's a PlayStation exclusive, okay? I don't care. Just somebody make this game. It's been too long. It needs to come back. We need Splinter Cell back. Yep, you're right, back. It does depend on how Perfect Dark comes out, but I think in Perfect Dark is going to be first person from what it looks like on the what they were saying. So it's different style of game at that point. You're right, they can't buy everything, but they can make deals. They can make deals, right? They can make deals. They can go to Ubisoft and make a deal. What's up, Ahmad? How's it going? Yeah, he says Ubisoft wants to create open world games filled with microtransactions, but they are unable to successfully apply that formula on Splinter Cell. 100% correct, and that's exactly why we haven't gotten a new Splinter Cell game, and that's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It makes sense from their bottom line if they're just looking only to, they're not looking for variety. They're just looking for what's going to make the biggest impact financially. And that's, if that's their under 100% only thing driving their decisions, that's a shame, because there's also been a lot of problems at Ubisoft, and maybe that mentality could stem all the way through the organization and kind of highlight exactly what some of the core problems that have been there, right? There's just no reason not to have a Splinter Cell game. Let's get it back, guys. Come on, Ubisoft. Let's get, hey, Splinter Cell should be trending like all the time. If it trends all the time, we'll get it. I guarantee you. If Splinter Cell was trending on Twitter like every day, there would be a new Splinter Cell game. Splinter Cell could be Ubisoft's Fallen Order like it was for EA. Yeah. Dude, hey, that's a good point, Back. They've proven, that EA has proven that you can make those different types of games and have success. Sony has, right? Like, not every game has to be this formula. So let's hope for more variety. But bottom line is, regardless of that, I'm just still so souped up, hyped up, whatever you want to call it, for Far Cry. I'm still excited for Battlefield 6, and those are formulaic. You can say that, right? So you know what I mean. It's on me, I guess, for buying the games. Halo Infinite. Oh my gosh, guys. I cannot wait for Ultimate After Hours after our podcast on Friday nights to play Halo Infinite with some of you guys. It's going to be absolutely incredible. Our podcast returns Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, Xbox Ultimate Podcast. We're going to all talk about E3, talk about Xbox, talk about how they killed it, give some things maybe we wanted to see, they didn't get to see, like maybe Perfect Dark, Avowed, or whatever. Like, but I think our entire crew is in agreement that they just absolutely slaughtered this E3. It was amazing. Crimson Knight says Perfect Dark cross Splinter Cell. Hey, that'd be pretty cool. Here's one thing. If I'll tell you one thing I wanted to see before we go. I wanted to see a fighting game at Xbox's conference. I wanted to see a fighting game. Like, I want an Xbox exclusive fighting game in Game Pass, a big one. I wanted to see that. We didn't get that. I like fighting games. I think that genre needs a little bit of a jump start right now, and I think Xbox could do big things with that. But hey, everybody out there, thank you for tuning in. This is an impromptu stream, just talking about games. I'm going to be playing some games also later. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. And I will catch you all later on stream for whatever I play. You all have an amazing day. Again, thank you so much. And take it easy, guys.